Whew. Got allergic to the hate, man. They be hating on me. I don't know why people hate me so much, man. This should start with why. Why do people hate me so much? Shit crazy. Yeah. Let me start with that why. Give me too much power. I was listening to Jordan Peterson. You know, he always give me my topics. I'm taking this topic, aggressive by nature. You know, Jordan Peterson has a broadcast on YouTube, Jordan B. Peterson. So he usually have guests come on and they speak on different topics, ranging from A to Z. A lot of topics. Whether it's religion, psychology, science, you name it, politics, you name it. And he has a guest on today. And his name is Richard Trembell. I think that's his name. Trembell. Whatever. Richard. Just check the episode. It's his latest episode. But the name of the episode, the title for this episode is Aggressive by Nature. And basically the topic is, I know I hate doing that, but fuck it. The topic consists of a lot of range, a whole lot of things. I'm still learning. I think I will have to listen back just to hear it again. This is something I'll definitely have to listen to again. But the name kind of speaks for itself. Aggressive by nature, pertaining to the human being. And he's saying that the whole concept of the society having an impact on how you misbehave, according to his research, is wrong. Here goes the win. According to his research, is wrong. It's basically the other way around, that we are born aggressive as children, and society actually shape us to basically society shape us to have compassion, to fit in, to take other people's feelings into consideration. It's not the other way around where you actually were born good, that society will change you into being bad. And he makes some good points, feel me? And it do make sense, actually. It do make sense. It actually speaks right into what I've been saying about the things that we have to learn to fit into the environment that we in, or society that we in. If there's a team and there's 5 people on that team, you have to learn to fit into the team. Either you're gonna be a point guard, or you're gonna be a power forward, or you're gonna be a center, or you're gonna be a small guard. You have to learn how to fit into that position, and you have to be good at those skills to hold a position on that team, or else you're going to be on the bench. And even when you're on the bench, are you going to be the 6th man, or are you going to be the last man on the bench? And that's society itself. Society will utilize the skills that you have, but at the same time, society will, the society, which is a team, unity, will teach you how to fit into it. So he's basically saying, as humans, we are born aggressive, feel me? And he goes into the description of most of this aggression comes from the parent, the mother itself. I know they say, there go them blaming women again, but it's true. When a woman carries a baby for 9 months, then after that, she's close to the child itself. So most of the behavior that the child picks up in the very beginning are from a woman itself. But we are naturally, as human, born aggressive by nature. And everything else that we learn, like learning to care, learning to share, and like I said, compassion, having sympathy, all that kind of stuff, we learn from the society that we trying to fit into. Because if a person who's That's why we have a system where people who commit crimes go to jail. We actually lock people up. We don't have a system where if you act too good, you get, well, not like me. When you act, I don't even commit crime and I get beat up by society. Are you talking about overall? We have a system where if you misbehave or you commit a crime or you're a little too aggressive towards other people, you know what I mean? You will go to jail. You feel me? So people who have grown up to be adults who do not know how to articulate themselves, because that's what a child does. A child, the reason why a child is aggressive by nature, because the child has not learned. I'm about to get into the topic. I got 15 minutes and that's all I got. The reason why a person the reason why a child behave the way they do, remember when a child first is born, they start to cry a lot. That's their only form of communication. Once a child starts to cry, the mother hear, oh, he's crying, so mom, you attend to the child. That's the first form of communication as the child and the mother goes along and everything. Well, before that, even in the womb, the child kick. That's a form of violence in itself. They kick the mother's womb, and the mother touched that place and calms the child down, like whatever they do. No woman got the intuition to deal with that child. So that's a form of violence. So when a child comes out the womb and everything else, their first form of communication is to cry out. Then the second form of communication is to do the aggression part, is to beat, scratch, pull, bite, you feel me? All that kind of stuff, because they don't know how to articulate themselves yet. And it goes on if it's not checked, because that's the only form of communication, you feel me? Once the child starts to read and his mind starts to develop and everything else like that, and the caring and loving and everything else like that, the child learns to articulate themselves. You feel me? That's when you discipline the child, but hey, don't do that. This is how you do it. Oh, I'm sorry, mommy. But sometimes they only say I'm sorry because they see that they hurt, they did something wrong. So according to what I'm hearing, we we fix the child's behavior by the things that we put them through. If we don't fix that behavior, or we don't check that behavior continue on until adulthood. You feel me? So it's very important. I guess education at a very young age is very important. Education doesn't necessarily mean ABC. It's just teaching them what is right and what is wrong. You see, the problem is that we don't train our children to fit into society. You feel me? That's the problem. I think that's the biggest problem. I think we need to start raising our kids more to fit into society. Hey, this is what it is, and this is what it is, and I'm gonna train you and bring you up to fit into the society. You find the best position that you can fit into. If it's a doctor, well, learn it, study it, and become it. You feel me? Free will, that's gonna be later on. Right now, you gotta find a way to fit in and get along with the rest of the community. Because if you don't learn how to get along with the rest of the community, guess what? You're more likely to get killed or you're gonna end up in jail. You feel me? So people who usually go to jail and people who usually commit a lot of crime and everything else didn't get this kind of lesson when they was young. You feel me? They get into violence because they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to articulate themselves. They don't know how to express themselves. You think, express yourself. You think that shit is so easy, but it's really not easy because some people just didn't learn how to do it when they was young. They're still stuck in that narcissist kid-like stage. You feel me? Where the emotion has not matured with the body that they're in. So they're a child in a grown-up's body because they have not gotten that because the caretaker, guardian, or their mother didn't do a good job, or father didn't do a good job in, checking them. When they said chin check them or whatever check they gotta do. But this is what goes on, feel me? And that's why this is when, as a person, this comes down to relationship. This is how you get to see if you're going out with a partner. You need to see how they communicate around other people. If their first reaction or their first emotion is anger, just know, especially for men, when you're dating a woman, if a woman, because remind you are the soul bringer, your sperm is a soul. So you put your soul in a woman's body. Remind you, the woman is gonna be spending 9 months feeding this child. This is how she gonna be feeding emotional. She gonna be feeding. She breathing. The child and the mother is using the same breath and everything else like that. Her lifestyle is going to shape the child before the child comes out. You feel me? And according to him, he said according to him, this kind of behavior lasts like 2 generations. So it doesn't just affect the child that you have, it also affects the child's child if the child decides to have a child itself. Of course, alcohol and everything else play into his cigarettes, smokes and everything else. Usually when a girl is pregnant and she starts smoking and everything else like that, it decreases what's the word that I use? It hold on. It I keep saying it shrinks the child's brain. Usually when a child, if you don't smoke or do none of that drinking shit, the child's brain grows to the size it's supposed to be. But if you smoking during pregnancy and everything else, it has an effect on the size of the child's brain. I was trying to use a word that can stop me from saying all these words, but fuck it, I forgot it. So it has an effect of how the child's brains develop. You feel me? So the child brain kind of shrinks to, instead of it being the normal size, it does not. It kind of has shrinks. That's why it has some kind of emotional deficiency, and it has a communication problem because of smoking and drinking and everything. Because the woman decide that she wanted to do these things when she was pregnant. But if you trying to date a girl and she's constantly reacting to an emotional state, like she always having an outburst, then these are things that you got to watch out for and be like, whoa, red flag, red flag, red flag. You feel me? Because it doesn't just affect you, it affects your legacy. It affects the child's legacy too as things come along. And you also got to watch, like my situation, if you watching from far, you see people in groups behaving the same way, you know not to, people who use violence as a form of communication, who wants to use their hands and they just can't articulate themselves. This is also people, oh, I gotta go. This is also an indication. It should be a notification in your head saying that, whoa, okay, red flag, red flag. This person right here has not developed the attributes to articulate himself through words. He's using a childlike communication, hitting and not biting, but just hitting and kicking and everything else like that as a form of communication. So guess what? You have to, those are red flags, like red flags. I don't need to be around these kind of people. He also said people in groups, if you a good person and you came across a group of people who act or behave in that, you are more likely to be contaminated with these kind of groups. But if you take one person from that filthy group, right, and you put him in a group of people who do not act like that, he's more likely to change his behavior, and that behavior will last him for a few years. So if that kind of behavior has an effect on that person like that, that tells you that the people who behave like that has been doing that kind of behavior for a very long time. So you need to be very cautious of how, that's what I always say. You gotta be careful of what you allow around you and what you permit around you and what you get yourself involved into. You can't just say, well, I'm just doing it right now because I have to. No. You don't allow yourself to go that far, because it's a behavior, especially as a woman, that will contaminate you, and it can affect your kids 2 generations down the line, because you thinking, well, I'm just doing it because I have no choice. No, it's a behavior. It contaminates your whole soul, and it becomes part of who you are. And this is the research that he's been doing for 40 years. You feel me? So y'all gotta be careful. I be telling niggas, and niggas don't even listen. So I gotta wait on the white man to say, so they can believe it. Because if the white guy don't say it, they're not gonna believe it. Feel me? And that's just the truth. So I be waiting on my white brothers to be like, all right, come on, hurry up, just say it already, so these people can, you know what I mean, believe it. Feel me? So you just gotta be careful. Aggressive by nature, meaning that we are born aggressively. We are very aggressive creatures. I mean, technically speaking, we define as animals. You feel me? But as humans, if we want to consider ourselves a human, if you want to be an animal, I mean that's on you. But if you want to be considered a human, you have to act and behave like a human. This is what society already have in place already. They already have laws. You see, we have all these things in place. We have a structure, we have a community, we have a system in place. This tells you that we are trying to maintain a system where it helps us grow out of that animalistic behavior. So life in itself makes you a better person. But if that behavior is gone unchecked, these people still stay in that animalistic behavior kind of way. And that's what I'm learning from this topic itself. You feel me? It makes sense when they put it in the scientific language or just regular language. You know, normal shit that we know, we take it for granted because we got the ass whipping when we was young. You know what I mean? You know, shit, my grandma would whip my ass if I was acting the way these niggas be acting. You can't be friends with your kids, man. I keep telling people that. That is your kid. That is somebody that you trusting to take on your brand to another level. You feel me? Your brand is your last name. You feel me? If a man's marry another woman, the woman will take on his last name. It doesn't matter how rich she is. Look at Kanye West and Kim. You feel me? She's still a West, even though they're trying to file for divorce. Until she does that, she's gonna carry on his name. You feel me? So your brand is your last name. So you gotta be very, very careful that you don't treat your kids as your best friend. Don't give them the right discipline and check them. Be like, don't do that. Don't do this. I'm trying to make you a better man. I'm not saying whip their ass and everything else, but you gotta check them. Like just check, like yo, don't do that. That's bad. Sit, roll. No, not a dog.
Super like cloudy all morning.
But I gotta go, man. All right.